Good evening, good evening, good evening, and welcome to the Reel McCoy. I'm your host, Meffistoe, and always with me, my hetero life mate. All my feelings, how are you, sir?
Happy birthday, buddy.
Yeah, it is. Wait, before we start with that, what is the Reel McCoy, you might ask? The Reel McCoy is your weekly movie podcast where we ask you to go watch a movie, watch it, come back to us, and we break it down for you, and we enjoy the movie making experience. You would agree, right?
Yeah, and wow, that's your smoothest intro yet?
Hopefully so. Hopefully so.
Getting there.
149 episodes or so. All right,
Yeah.
cool. As you can see, there is no guest. There will be a guest. She is on the way, as the bad boys say. I would flip over to this, and I will add Mr. Feelings, and we'll do this and that and the other on the fly and in the nose. All right, cool. This week, we I am celebrating my birthday in this whole birthday month where Mr. Or My Feelings, except for this week, picked every single movie. But we kind of agreed to do this particular movie because I said, well, I want to slip this one somewhere. Might as well do it on a birthday stream.
Yeah, because I think we talked about it before. The only other way we could do it is if we did a Jack Nicholson retrospective, and it'd be like, well, we already did The Shining, which was definitely going to be in there, and then we're like this, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, and several other films that we would probably want to pick in there, but two films we would definitely want to cover on different bases, and this is a great one, and I think this could have made it into the midlife crisis month as well, too, and it
there's
could have,
there's
yeah.
so many things we could have finagled it, but it fell on today, so I'm happy. So what we usually do is get into the movie, but I want to give our guest a little time to get here. Plus, I've already prepared something in advance, so it's pretty good that we don't start right away.
There we go.
So if you're coming on from Salty Nerd Podcast, I'm not sure they rated us yet. I don't think so. Oh yeah, they did. They did. They're trickling in, as the old Dr. Disrespect says. Welcome, everybody. Welcome, Daisy Girl Williams. Welcome, Keely Chow. And the rest of the Salty Nerds from the Salty Nerd Podcast. Be sure to subscribe to their channel. Go on Google and give their podcast thing a good review, because they're worth it. I've been to Las Vegas recently. I've been to Mr. Cage's podcast studio. It is absolutely great. Mr. Matt Cadish, is a wonderful human being, very gracious host. So people are trickling in. So I'm going to do an unboxing, which I don't do on the show, but it's my birthday. So screw it. Right. So I don't have to open this with a knife because it's been pre-opened, because the person who ordered this thing for me wanted to make sure it arrived safely and sound. So it's probably wrapped up in cellophane or something. It is rattling. I don't know if you can hear this, but this is, it's upside down. It's a Displate poster, but it's not from Displate. It's from a competing company, and this is I have to of course
Oh,
turn
it's
off
the family.
studio lights. It is me and my family at Yankee Stadium. It's from our latest trip. Now this baby is smaller than these, as you can see, so I can't really hang it up there. But it'll be in the office. I like it. It's my wife, before she did this, she asked me what was your highlight of the trip. So it's a long trip. It's about almost 3 weeks. It's like, what's your highlight of the trip? And I said, well, I don't really have a highlight. There are moments that I liked, but I don't have this was my favorite thing. I did say, however, that I really enjoyed my first ever baseball game that I attended. because I've seen baseball games in the past. Not that I'm pretty old, so kind of happens that you follow you follow like American sports like I do or used to. Baseball is one of those things, and it's pretty great. It's a pretty awesome day. Pretty awesome day.
Now that was that was after you met the guy on the subway that really wanted to overshare, right?
Oh, no, no, no. It was the day.
The day, yeah, okay.
The guy who overshared was like, dude, as soon as he found out where I'm from, he's like, dude, an Israeli guy who works for the Yankees gave me these like tickets, like dugout seat tickets. He was sitting like, this is like the upper decks. He was sitting there somewhere, like,
yeah.
Right? He was like close.
We're talking really, really good seats. Yeah.
Like really good seats. I mean, there's a point where you can get to the field without having tickets to like seat. So we got as close as possible. And you know, we got to like smell the pitch, but then they were like, okay, time to go. Time to go. All right. Great timing because
there she is.
There she is, our guest, Amorata. How have you been?
I've been good. How have you been? Happy birthday.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm good. I'm good. I'm gonna switch over to something else before we do this because I need to add.
I was gonna say from here on out, you don't have to wait for another Jack Nicholson movie to be a guest, or you know that, right?
Kind
of turned out that way, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, what's wrong with waiting for a Jack Nicholson movie?
I know, but this is going to be a long time for the next one.
Why? He's so great. He does. When are you guys doing Witches of Eastwick? I mean, I'll be here for that.
Maybe on Oh My Feelings' birthday, maybe.
Ooh.
I don't know.
That actually wouldn't be a bad one. It's right up there. It could be kind of a very kind of supernatural but weird take month where it could be Witches of Eastwick.
The Craft.
Come on.
Oh,
the Craft.
Yeah.
That'd be great. Well, I was going to say also, obviously, The Devil's Advocate. Because I'm a fan of man.
I'm a fan of man.
Stigmata wouldn't be bad.
Yeah, Stigmata, yeah.
Well, it's up to Mr. Oh My Feelings, but we'll sort that out in December somewhere. All right, cool. Let's start the show. Let's start the show proper. We'll say hello to everybody. I said Keely, Chow, Penny, and all the other people that from the Salty Nerd podcast. Welcome.
Hi.
And we'll start where we usually start, at the beginning, behind the screens.
Sound production, take 2.
All right, behind the screens is where we turn to me as we learn everything that is behind the scenes and production stuff. And it's mostly not a lot. Sort of like last week, there's not a lot of information floating out there that is like deep into, there's like financial issues or production issues or location stuff. It's pretty much bog standard stuff. The script was floating around in Hollywood forever, sort of in the vein of this is a script where we know we want to do, but nobody's like picking up the mantle to actually make it. Yeah. And it was mostly because of the character of Melvin Udall.
I could see that.
It was a problem even back then. Remember, Hollywood is pretty gay and has always been pretty fucking gay. So, and the character that gets beat up a lot and physically beat up is a gay person. Yeah. All right. The original script was written by Mark Andrus. But when James L. Brooks picked it up, he sort of rewrote it, added a few things. So the basic structure was there, but it was written and built for Jack Nicholson, basically.
You can tell.
And yeah, you can definitely tell because when it was
You
like
want me to sound like the bad man?
when it was floating about, like the people who were attached to it was Kevin Kline, which after A Fish Called Wanda, I can see him do that role. And Mike
Melvin,
Knowles.
I could actually see him playing Simon more.
Okay,
Yeah,
I can actually see him play Frank, but okay.
Frank. Yeah, he could definitely be Frank.
And Mike Knowles was set to direct it, which was
really?
like a sort of getting that British infusion into this, which is the original title. The original title was called Old Friends, and when it was Old Friends, the leading lady was Liza Minnelli.
Okay, that tells you how old this is.
Kevin Kline. That's how old this script is.
Wow, it being called Old Friends, then emphasis on the old makes a lot of sense.
Right.
Yeah. The title was changed to As Good as It Gets, but it also had the title of Rock Bottom and The Bright Side of Life, which didn't quite take.
Yeah.
Jack Nicholson suggested Warm Rolls and Wet Pants. Summarily denied. But you know why it was interesting.
I thought it would be wet. I thought it'd be warm rolls and wet shirts because Jesus, they did her dirty.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
No, not dirty.
That was a very clean shirt. I mean,
Well, yes.
Yes. No, but
It was just very odd, as you could clearly tell. Like she's wearing a bra. Oh, she's not wearing a bra.
yeah.
Okay. All right.
we'll be honest. I never noticed that for some reason. I never looked at that closely.
The
Welcome
thing,
to the male mind.
yeah.
Oh God.
The thing with that,
All of a sudden, Amorata's like, I think I gotta go now.
Hold on, the dogs are barking.
in a theater full. Damn. Anyway, the thing is, they got to the title like a week or two before it was supposed to be like on the poster and shipped out.
Oh shit.
Was that
Wow.
close? Yeah, it was that close. There was.
They probably thought this title is as good as it gets.
Yeah, exactly.
The thing is, before actually casting Jack Nicholson, Brooks like thought about having Bill Murray play the Melvin Udall part, which to me
That would
would be good. But he did say in an interview, he had to change it again to make it fit the sort of the sarcastic Bill Murray character.
Yeah, because I really don't see Bill Murray dropping the other F-bomb ever, like Melvin
I think
does.
you'd do it.
Oh.
I totally think you'd do it.
You never know. You never know. The thing with Jack, and he said it again in an interview I've seen, is he detested the character of Melvin Udall. He really hated having to act like that. So
Wow, so far, this is the second film that he's been in that he's hated his role.
it's so strange because he, like I said, he said in an interview that, and it kept. I'm going back to remember when we covered Trading Places. Don Amici didn't want to curse at all.
Yeah.
He only did it because like I'm doing this one take and that's it.
Yep.
And for Jack, it wasn't really that the same. At least that's not what he said. But he said that going outright so bluntly being that type of person was fitting to the role, but he really didn't like it. It's not his nature. And everybody says Jack is a sweetheart, like backstage.
He's supposedly actually.
I can believe that.
Really nice guy. So.
But I do think him hating the role probably contributed to how well he did.
Probably. I think he mentioned it in the Oscars. He was so. It's like giving from him to other people. He didn't want to congratulate himself, kind of a thing. He even mentioned. I saw it. He even mentioned J.T. Walsh, who played it with him in A Few Good Men, because he died right before the movie, like As Good as It Gets, came out. And apparently they were really good friends behind the scenes, which was awesome. It was the third collaboration of 4 between Brooks and Nicholson. One of them was Terms of Endearment, where Nicholson won an Oscar for. And the fourth one was a movie that I've never seen before. I didn't even write the title, but I've never seen that movie before. They
Well, now I
did
don't know if I saw
butt a lot of heads when it came to the characterization of Melvin Udall, to the point of shutting down production for a day to sit down and hash out a compromise
Oh shit.
where the character, what the character is going to say, because it was very important to both of them to get their sort of final take. But again, James Brooks and Nicholson are like super friends. They're like they're friends that are going to Laker games together.
Nice.
That's what we're friends.
Yeah.
Right. Carol, the character of Carol, was written as a 44-year-old lady, but Helen Hunt was 34 at the time. She wasn't even the first choice for the role.
Damn.
Holly Hunter was the first choice. She turned it down. I didn't see any reason. Uma Thurman was tapped in later, and she turned it down because she thought she was too young.
She would have been way too young for the role. Yeah.
Courtney Love turned it down because
Oh, thank God.
she was
Yes.
recording the album Celebrity Skin at the time. Plus, like years later, she said, I wouldn't have fit because I looked very young at the time. I thought she was pretty ragged at the time, so I don't know.
Yeah.
And Helen Hunt, having like got the role, took 2 years off after they finished, like after they're wrapped, because she was doing Mad About You at the time,
Oh.
while doing As Good as It Gets. Like Mad About You was from 92 to 99.
I didn't realize it went that long. I loved that show.
Yeah, that's a lot, but I don't remember even watching like the last 3 seasons. And it's because of Friends, by the way.
Yes. Well, Friends killed a lot of sitcoms. The only ones that it didn't, the only one that it actually didn't kill but helped be a proponent of was Seinfeld, because they were on the same Thursday night block on NBC.
Yeah.
And there's actually a fun Seinfeld reference in this film.
Now that you say it, I know it, but I probably forgot.
It's an actress, and once we get to the scene, I'll point her out.
Oh.
Yeah.
I think I know what you mean.
Yeah.
I'm probably thinking about something else. There is another like TV.
All right, Jay, calm down.
Thank you, Jay. Anyway,
He's not wrong.
according to another interview that I saw, it was mentioned, so I went to check it out. James Earl Brooks, in a sort of a behind-the-scenes thing that they did for promotion for the movie, said that there was an actress that he really wanted for the role that fit within the age bracket. However, she wanted more money than Nicholson.
Oof.
Ooh.
Yes. And he said, well, I want to have you on, but I don't want to pay you that much money. And he never, ever said who it is. So it could have been Holly Hunter, but we never know.
I'm thinking if they were trying to demand more money than Nicholson, I'm thinking maybe Glenn Close.
Or Meryl Streep.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would probably be more.
Yeah.
But he never said who it was, so we never know. For the role of Simon, Nathan Lane was the first choice.
Really?
But he said no. He said no because he just played a gay character in The Birdcage.
I'm loving it because
Yeah.
really, Nathan Lane was your first choice for a gay character, huh?
Right.
Yeah. And he was trying not to be a gay icon. Too fucking bad.
Too late, man. Too late.
Woody Harrelson was called for a read with Jack Nicholson. Mid-read, he said, "I'm not doing this. This is not for me." Like,
yeah, I could see what he.
intimidated by Nicholson. He said, "This is just not. I can't do it." Whatever it was. And Greg Kinnear said he was scared to, like, he was scared of Jack. He was literally scared to act off Jack because he was unpredictably intimidating.
Nice.
That's
I love that.
a quote, which is awesome. For the role of Frank, Chris Rock was the first guy to be tapped.
Really interesting.
But this time around, the studios overruled Brooks, and they requested Cuba Gooding Jr. because he just won an Oscar for Jerry Maguire. Now, the funny bit is they wanted him to have top billing with all the other cast because, quote unquote, his Oscar rep would have brought more people to the theaters. Now, that was a
Really
complete utter joke because I don't think the audience cares if you've got an Oscar-winning actor in your movie to boost movie going experience. I never thought about who won an Oscar or not. I just wanted to see a movie. So,
well, I know back in the 90s, that was more of a thing that was more prevalent that they would say like the Academy Award winner. Blah, blah, blah,
it was prevalent in since the 50s. There was we're getting
I know.
Oscar to push your sort of PR in the news, in the trades. It's like, oh, this guy from the Oscar winner of this, from the director of this. Oscar
yes, I know, but I'm saying from the 90s though. Since then, it's died down and become less of a prevalent note. Then it's
that's because everybody's mad at them now.
Yeah, well,
that's true.
Betty White was asked to be Carol's mom.
That would have worked.
But she read the script and she read the part where Verdell is being mistreated. And
Yeah.
she's a big animal activist. She said flat out no. Shirley Knight, who was tapped in to be the mom, was actually at the same theater class as Jack Nicholson.
Oh.
They were both in the same class, which is, it's a fun little tidbit, I guess. The main dog trainer is called Roger Schumacher. By the way, I got this off a website it's called the Verdell Shrine. I am not even joking.
The Verdell Shrine?
Well, he does look like a cute little teddy bear.
Well, he's a Brussels Griffon.
Yeah.
Because whatever information I've got from other places was stupid. But Roger Schumacher, who was a dog trainer, said that he'd never work with Brussels Griffon. That's the type of dog. It's a European breed. Amorata knows way more about this than me. And he said that he was very surprised that they were very easy to train because they're very intelligent for a small dog.
People don't give small dogs enough credit.
I don't know. You breed dogs, right?
I breed small dogs. Actually, my dogs are smarter than a lot of big dogs I've met. So I'm not gonna lie, there are a lot of dumb small dogs, really, really dumb small dogs. But the Brussels Griffon is actually a very intelligent, very sweet dog.
It's a Griffon, okay? Because it looks like it's written like Griffin, but with an I.
Yeah, well, my dogs are spelled Biewer, and it's pronounced beaver. So,
all right. There were actually 6 dogs to play the role of Verdell. Timer, Sprout, Debbie, Billy, Parfait, Parfait, I guess Parfait, and Jill, which supposedly Jill was the cutest, easiest to train, and the most quote unquote intelligence to the point where Greg Kinnear said, "Well, that's the fourth cast," and I was like, "What about Cuba Gooding Jr.?"
I mean, well, to be fair, Jill would have been in more scenes.
Yeah.
Technically,
Cuba really wasn't in a whole lot of the movie.
technically yes.
And technically, if you think about it, without Verdell, the film would have not have happened. So
Yeah.
the plot would not have happened.
You have to have Verdell.
And until this day, and I couldn't find any other reference or points in the Oscar website. Until this day, this was the last movie to win both Best Actor and Best Actress while not winning Best Picture.
Wow.
Yes. Do you guys remember which movie won the Best Picture? It's
Is that 98? Or is
the
it
98 Oscars. Yeah. So if it's
Oh
for
my God,
90
was it that long ago?
yes.
No, I don't remember.
I can't remember.
Titanic.
Oh,
It was the year of the Titanic. Yes.
Well, thank God that didn't win Best Actor and Actress.
because Cameron won for Best Director that year too, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I feel Jillian here might be a little, what's the word? Biased.
Just a little bit.
We'll say hello to Jay, by the way. We noticed you, Jay, and Jillian. Welcome. I hope you enjoyed the show. It's a fun little show. By the way, in terms of like Oscars, do you know who like won? When Greg Kinnear was nominated, but he didn't win. Do you know who did win?
For Best Supporting Actor?
Best Supporting Actor.
Billy
Robin,
Zane?
Robin Williams for Good Will Hunting.
Oh.
Well, no, that does make sense, though. That
Yeah.
tracks. That
Yeah.
tracks very well.
Yep. Cool. Awesome. Right. Shall we just jump into let's play the first game. Let's just play the first game. Let me set this up real quick. Yeah. All right. Cool. First game of the night. It is called Missing Marquee. All right, Missing Marquee for the uninitiated. Is where we take 10 posters of movies, have their text written off. We display them in a horror Amorata. We'll have to guess which movie this is as I finally share my screen for the very first time today. And go.
Fantastic Four?
No.
Okay, I have no idea.
It is a failed Marvel. No, not Marvel. Sony Marvel.
Dark Phoenix?
Dark Phoenix is correct. Yep.
Cool! I've never even seen that movie.
It's awful. Don't watch it.
Cool.
Just skip it.
This is a Clint Eastwood movie. I can tell us that much. I don't remember the name. Dirty Harry?
This movie, by the way.
Is it Dirty Harry?
Not
It's
Dirty
the-
Harry.
It's the car.
It's the car. Yeah.
It's a
Mustang?
full.
Hmm?
There
Mustang?
it is. Jay's got
Jay
it.
has it.
Gran Torino.
Gran Torino.
I'm not
Great
that good at cars.
It's a bit more. Yeah.
It's the flower.
Well, great. That doesn't help. Because I think that's a Magnolia.
Yeah.
It is a Magnolia because the film is called Magnolia.
Cool. Okay. I recognize this movie. I haven't seen this movie.
It's a Robert Rodriguez movie. It's a third of a trilogy.
Yeah.
Does it have something to do with Mexico?
Yes.
It has Mexico in the title.
Right. I just can't remember the rest of the words. Once Upon a Time in Mexico?
Once
There
Upon a
you
Time
go.
in Mexico is correct.
Cool. Prince of Persia.
Prince of Persia, Sands of Time. Not that it matters, but okay.
I know this one, and it's bad that I know it.
It's Jay Baruchel
and
and
Alice
it's
Eve.
Alice Eve.
Yeah, that means nothing to me.
And also, I think Seth Rogen's in it too. Because of course
Not
he
helping.
is.
Yeah, it's a minor part. Yeah.
Yeah, no clue.
It's she's out of my league.
No, she's above me.
Ooh.
No, it's
Thing about Mary.
No, it's definitely not. So I would have gotten something about Mary.
No, actually, well, no. Meth, you have that title as She's Above Me. It's She's Out of My League in the States.
Oh,
That's what the poster said.
Yeah, that's a different title.
That's the title I remember. She's above me.
It's She's Out of My League. Even Jay knows it. Yeah.
Wow, okay.
Yeah.
this looks familiar.
This is very familiar.
I should know this.
Yes.
It's a World War II movie, isn't it?
It is a World War II movie starring
What are they trying to do?
Steve
Well-
McQueen.
They're obviously trying to break out of something.
They're obviously breaking out of something. Let's just say a lot of people that broke up didn't actually made it.
The Great Escape?
The Great Escape is correct.
Aha, I even got it before I saw that. Gonna tell you guys I don't know this one.
All right, cool. The sequel to this is The Color of Money.
Yes.
I've seen both of them lately. The Color of Money is way better.
It is. It's a way better movie. Both movies are good, though, to be fair.
Is it called Green?
It's not called Green. Has nothing to do with The Color of Money.
Oh. Yeah, I have no idea.
All right, let's see what the audience, what Jay probably.
Nope.
It's not The Color.
No, you see, that's the thing. That's the second movie. This is the first movie.
No. Otherwise, I wouldn't have said the title. I
Right.
said the sequel to this one. Like the sequel, Color of Money, was done in the 80s. This one is in the 60s, 67. And I think sort of like there was a story to continue, but this movie doesn't set up the sequel.
No.
And Luke, this is, oh, my feelings?
I believe that this is The Hustler, right?
A Hustler is correct.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's all about pool hustling.
Oh. Familiar. This does not look like one I mean, the actors all look familiar.
Yes.
The poster
Kathleen Turner
itself
Overdrive.
doesn't look right.
There is another poster, but I haven't found one without the text off.
Right. I mean, I would have to go with either the Jewel of the Nile or what was the name of the first one?
Romancing the Stone.
That
It's
one.
none of them.
Yeah. Okay. So you see, I didn't know they were in the same. I didn't know they were in 3 movies together.
Yeah. This is the third movie that they've done together. This is like, I think 10 years after.
Really? They
Yeah.
look so good.
Yes, I know. Maybe less than 10. Because you never know with Kathleen Turner.
Sure.
This is called Oh My Feelings.
I never remember the name of it.
Somehow I don't think that's the title.
This is The War of the Roses.
Roses. God.
Oh.
I need to actually watch that movie at some point in time. I still have never seen it.
You know what's funny? You would enjoy it. I'm not sure
Probably would.
Amorata is going to enjoy it. They're two affluent. They're an affluent couple, and they have a major falling out, and they start a war in the house. So
That could be fun.
they're getting a divorce, and Danny DeVito is the. I don't remember if he's Michael Douglas's friend or like the family lawyer, and he was supposed to do like counseling to try and like either make an
the
end or
intermediary?
make a clean breakup.
That could be interesting.
Anyway, it's more fun than you would expect from the premise of the movie. Let's just say
As an aside, by the way, whenever I see Kathleen Turner, I can only think of High Fidelity.
why?
I don't
Because-
have that problem.
Because Jack Black's character is like, well, when at the end when he's with his band, Barry Jive and the Uptown Five, when he's playing at the show for the other band that they actually basically produced, he said, well, we were promo that, and then we were Kathleen Turner Overdrive.
Oh, that's why. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I guess. All right, cool. As good as it gets. Opens up with the most horrible scene.
Well, also, I love the old lady because again, we were talking backstage. He like Meth. He from overall just first perspective. Melvin is like the most basically red pill MAGA hat wearing guy that you'd like. You don't think there's any depth behind him. You think he's just an absolute asshole, and that's prevalent with the old lady opening the door. Like it's tulip season, seeing him going, "Oh, son of a bitch," and closing the door. I don't even want to see him.
I did mention it. Like today's crowd is going to look at this in like with a different view. It's like this guy's like a MAGA wearing red pill guy. He says the most outlandish shit. We
Back then, we just called him an asshole.
Just an asshole.
Yeah.
It's like
Just
he's
an
not a
asshole.
likable guy. And the one scene, it comes out later on, but the one scene that I kind of forgot the setup for it is where later on he like kind of meets Simon in the hall later on, and Melvin says to him, "That colored fellow that you've got."
It's right.
Yeah.
Oh, that colored man. It was like, well, like
Colored
thick color with color. What color you talking about? Like thick molasses.
And he doesn't only say the thick molasses thing. He does that
The
sort of
southern drawl, that thick
drawl.
molasses.
Yeah.
And it was like, oh, I completely forgot. Like, it's so horrible.
But it's so good.
It fits with the character, and you know he says he's bad or not bad, not supposed to say it, but he's casually says it.
I think that's one of the problems, though, is people today will watch that and think of him as, you know, a racist or something. And no, he's just an asshole. It has nothing to do with race. He just hates everybody.
Yeah. It's a difference between somebody who targets a specific race or targets like
Yeah.
a misanthrope. Like
He's a
character.
misanthrope. Yeah. He's
Yeah, he is
He hates all people.
a misanthropic hermit. So, yeah.
To the point where he even says to Simon,
who writes romance novels too. It's like you are a complicated man, Melvin.
the issue is, you know this because he treats everybody the same except for the people he needs to keep his routine. So Carol is one of those people. He needs her to keep his routine. So he treats her, I'm not going to say with respect, but until he gets to know her, he treats her just as good enough, just as good as it can get, until he actually has that flip.
Yep.
So Melvin throws Verdell down the garbage chute at a high-rise New York building. And then when Simon comes in, it's like, have you seen Verdell? It's like, who's Verdell? It's like, my dog. Oh, you've got a dog.
Oh, I thought it was that colored fella.
Yeah.
This is like, oh wow, we're going off rip. Okay. Okay. We're setting you up as a character real quick, aren't we?
And the like Udall's character immediately was like, oh, he's such an asshole. And then he closes the door and he goes
Does a
in,
lot.
His routine.
and you're like, what the hell he's doing? What the hell is he doing? And then goes to the bathroom, and you get to see this crazy like soap.
So he must go through at least that entire cabinet a day.
Well, depends. It really depends how many times he washes his hands. I guess.
I mean, what did he use one bar of, I'm trying to remember. Did he use one bar of soap each time? Okay, so I would say it depends on how often he leaves his house in that day.
Yeah.
Because I
Yeah,
think
I
he
know he
watches
does
them
at
every
least
time he comes
once.
home.
Yeah.
Yeah, and to me, it's a great little setup to what just happened outside of the house, and then you see inside of the house, and you're like, oh, that kind of ties into that, but it's not really the same because having an OCD and being an asshole are two completely different things, right? Sometimes it has a connection, but like being meticulous about how many times you lock the door or how many times you wash with a bar of soap and how hot of water you do doesn't really give that impression of being an asshole. And then you see him at the restaurant.
Well, and then also when he's walking there, he's actually stepping over cracks and like he can't step on them. And also we have that scene where it's the handyman played by the wonderful Mr. Brian Murray.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, are we skipping the part where they knock on the door and bring back the dog?
No, that's what we're talking about right now.
Oh, because he said we went to the restaurant.
No,
That's what I'm saying.
Later.
It's a,
Later.
Oh, okay. All right.
No, no, I'm going towards when he's trying to write his thing and then like knock on the door.
That's where the banging comes. But when he brings him that, when he goes, so is there any way he could have gotten down in the basement? It's like maybe some nice neighbor shoved him down the garbage chute.
Hey. Yeah, we're talking about shoving dogs down the garbage chute. You're next.
That yelp was spot on.
I think that bark was like, "Oh, you want to try me, huh?"
That was a very smart dog. But the thing is, Simon comes in and gets rebuffed. It's like, even if this house is completely burning down, you do not open this door. Even if you hear a thud and then you have a week later, you hear that smell.
You smell it. Yeah. You do
Don't
not
knock
come
it.
knocking on this door.
Yeah. It's like, he really wants to be left alone.
Well, he also has that line where he says flat out, like, yeah, and even if you get so excited when a gay president is finally
Elected, and you
brought
just
in,
need somebody to.
and he invites you down to Camp David personally, and he mentions the actual, he uses the term some fudge packer. I'm
Yes.
like, wow.
Yes.
Okay. You were just going off, Melvin. Okay.
Yes,
okay.
he's going off. And
And Jill, thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for 5 gifted subs. I hope you guys enjoy it because we've got some content going because, yeah. Anyway, thank you, Jillian. That was very gracious. Yeah, he does use fudge packer, which is, wow.
He uses a lot of epithets for homosexuals in this film, and also for he goes on an anti-Semitic rant later.
I mean, he does say there's Jews in my table, and they
well, then he also talks about, it's like, oh wow, was your stomach bigger than your noses?
Yeah.
It's like, wow, okay, well, that was said.
This movie would not be made today. That's my issue. You know why? Because at the end of the day, it's a romantic comedy, right? If you want to, if you want to really boil it down, it's a romantic comedy. And the comedy bit in it is all the way out there. Like, there are no qualms about Melvin Udall being an absolute
Piece of shit.
Oh, yeah.
He
Worst
is
person ever.
He is a detestable character, but the fact that he falls in love, I know I'm jumping ahead. The fact that he falls in love and does the best that he can, being how he grew up, working with his OCD, to actually open up and have that really a full-on redemption arc. Well, not really full, but a sort of a redemption arc where you do get to see his kind side. You do get to see his more gentle, softer side, the accepting side. We'll talk about that a little bit later. It is there. He's just like a porcupine. You just feel his thorns all the time, rather than just feeling the squishy underbelly.
Which even Carol actually brings that up later. Now that I see your soft underbelly. Yeah. Sorry, Amorata.
Well, and I was just going to say, it's like, sometimes there are these people out there who've never experienced any actual love in their life, which when he talks about his past later, you get to find out he really didn't. And he just never had somebody show him that he could be better.
Yeah. Yeah.
So in a way, talking about his character, do you think that's the reason why he actually is kind of a romance writer, because he's creating this fictitious world that
Yeah,
he
I mean,
could
so
never be a
often
part
that's
of?
what they are. I mean,
Yeah.
when you look at production in general, how many times do you see these people who make these beautiful, heartfelt movies, and then you find out they're absolute pieces of shit in the background?
That's fair.
Not to talk about romance, but I'm looking at the camera and I'm looking at you, Stephen King.
I mean, that's not romance, to be fair. But
Not romance. I was like totally different thing, but yeah.
he's
Well,
just, I mean,
it's all
I know.
about like taking a bunch of coke and writing into the night.
So,
Well,
some
but
people
also
are
it's like
the same
some-
on the inside they are on the outside.
Outside.
He's one of those.
Stephen King is just kind of a weirdo. He was he was a drunk weirdo who was high on coke all the time in his early career. Now he's just a weirdo.
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 Yeah.
Anyway, but yeah, we have that interaction with sort of Frank coming in and trying to. He kind of knows Simon is not the guy to do any sort of confrontation, so Frank is the one that is taking on the confrontation bit. Now, one thing to note, and this is something really weird that James Brooks said, that he envisioned Frank to be bisexual, and I really thought like Frank isn't Simon's partner,
No.
but he's definitely gay.
Oh yeah, I read that at 100%.
But Brooks said he envisioned him as a bisexual. It's like, really?
You see, I could see the bisexual. Just because you're bisexual doesn't mean you fall back in the normal scope of men, but you can be one of those bisexual men who lean more towards men, so it comes off as gay.
I don't know. He has got like pretty good gay moments in it. To be honest, there are moments in this movie where I was waiting for him to say, "Show me the money."
and you see, I see this movie, and I know this came later, but I see cruise ship.
Yes.
Well, yeah, that's a really good point.
Now, after they have that confrontation with Frank, we get to be introduced to the restaurant and Carol, and the fact that Melvin comes in and people are sitting in his spot, and I was like, "Oh, this is what they got the Sheldon character from. This is exactly Sheldon from
Big Bang Theory.
Big Bang Theory, like to the T." And he comes in and he spreads his own utensils.
Well, that he brings in baggies that come
Yep.
up later. But
Yeah.
also the one thing about that is the people that were sitting there, they were obviously Jewish, and he makes that whole big anti-Semitic rant and everything. But the actress that was there was George's girlfriend in several different occasions during Seinfeld.
I knew she looked
Yeah.
familiar.
Okay. Her name is Lisa Edelstein. The guy sitting across from her is called Peter Jacobson. She was
that's what it was. She was the risotto girl.
yes, she was the
Yeah.
risotto girl in Seinfeld. That's what
Yeah.
you reminded me because I knew there was something there.
Yeah.
But she also was the manager of the hospital in House.
Dean of Medicine. Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
And Peter Jacobson, he wasn't like the first of the trio, but he kind of replaced the old cast.
Yeah, he came later. He was
Also cast in House MD.
I don't remember the name of the
House
character,
MD.
but yeah.
The
No,
name of
the character he played.
but he was Jewish in there too. So
Yep.
I said I didn't watch
So
House
was-
very much, so I had to
So was
frame a
Lisa,
reference.
though. They were. I mean, to be fair, it's kind of hard not to cast them as Jewish.
not sure. It's Lisa. Yeah, thank you, Jillian.
Lisa.
Lisa Cuddy, Dr. Cuddy.
Yeah.
In House and Dr.
Yeah,
Taub
Taub. Yeah.
Jacobson. Yeah. Anyway, the whole point is we get to see Carol, and then it kind of transitioned into Carol's personal life.
Well, we do have, just as an aside, as well, we also get the clear impression that even though he is a clear, obvious patron at this restaurant, everyone there despises him. They do not want him there. The manager does not want him there. They want him gone. And the one thing is they go like, oh, well, that's okay. I'll sit in someone else's section. And everybody just,
No.
no.
Well, actually, she says it's okay. You can sit in somebody else's section, and everybody goes go and like, okay, maybe not. But the thing is even in that moment, she is still intervening on his behalf to keep him from being kicked out.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. It seems like she has some sort of an affinity toward him.
A soft spot for him.
Kind of understands what his shtick is.
I don't know that I'd go with understands. I think she pities him.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that.
Oh, sorry.
No, sort of being motherly and understanding because A, she's got a kid of her own. B, he's not a normal happy-go-lucky kid. He's a sickly kid, and it kind of transitioned into. I'm not sure. I've seen it yesterday, and now I don't remember. Does the line where he's looking in her eyes and she says, "You look." I want to ask how old you are because you look 50.
Yeah.
With their eyes. That's not this one. That's like a later scene.
Yeah, that's
Is that a later scene? Yeah, I think it's a later scene.
I think so. But from the restaurant scene, it transitions into her being at her own house, and we get to see her kind of struggle. Yeah, the date that doesn't really turned out
too hot
because the guy she's dating is a smoker. She's like automatically pulled out the cigarette. He's like, "Oh, don't smoke, my kid." It's like, okay, no problem.
To be fair, the guy does a smooth little move with the magic trick.
With the whole, makes it disappear.
Yeah, and let's just say once the kid is introduced, he's like, "This is too heavy for me. I'm just gonna leave." And
it's just a little bit of vomit.
Yeah, I think it would have been fine if it wasn't for the vomit on her shirt.
Like that went 0 to 100 real quick.
Yeah.
The one thing for me is I never knew the kid's name. His name is Jesse James. Not the guy who married Sandra Bullock, Jesse James, the other Jesse James, apparently.
Now, what's so odd, too, was he also in Seinfeld? Because he looks like the little blonde kid that was in Seinfeld.
He's not the same.
Okay.
No. We're talking about it's not the same boy.
Okay. Because he looks very similar to the other kid who was in there. It's like, wow, Jerry, you're a funny fucker.
Now, in the purpose of moving the plot along, we get introduced to Skeet Ulrich, which is funny because the guy next to him, the guy who later robbed him with, they were both in Scream.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The guy wearing the beret, they were both
It's
Scream.
Jamie Kennedy.
Yeah.
Whatever. I don't remember the names, dude.
If anything, like Skeet Ulrich and Jamie Kennedy, out of the two, Jamie Kennedy actually had the longer career.
Yeah. Yeah.
Besides Skeet Ulrich basically being the knockoff Johnny Depp.
Well, technically, yeah. So a guy comes in, he's like Simon's aide or whatever, and he
Oh, don't worry, I found a model.
Yeah. Pays for a guy off the side of the street to.
And what ends up being Simon getting beat up by these three guys who.
Well, there's actually a very sweet moment there where originally the Skeet Ulrich character, who Vincent is his name, who comes in originally like he thinks that he's there. Basically, is like, this is not Midnight Cowboy.
Yeah.
Put your pants back on, all right?
That was a great little line, but yeah,
And Simon actually goes through, like, we get the set up and payoff of Simon's process of how he actually understands and how he actually develops his own art.
And this is a great little setup and payoff because it actually pays off when he has his redemption at the sort of the hotel where
The
he
breakthrough, yeah.
saw Carol in that light. It's like, oh, I need to paint you. It's like stand still, and he does the same with Skeet Ulrich's character as well. And
because he explained the process, he showed his vulnerability, and then
I want to see people's sort of reflection or whatever. I want to see people for who they are.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very interesting point, and then it comes back later just to get where Simon's coming from. Is sort of a character. And of course, he gets beat up, and Frank goes to Melvin's like elderly neighbor, and she's like, "No, no."
Like, I thought that's okay. It's like, you bitch.
And the thing is, Udall Melvin is out there, and he's
Feels like
laughing his
you're watching the dog.
Frank is like, "You," and he just thrusts Verdell in, and this is sort of the ball that kind of started rolling, because as soon as Verdell is introduced into that apartment, and the moment where he's trying to feed him, so he gave him like dog food with bacon bits coming out of
It wasn't dog food. No,
Chunks
it
of-
was just cuts of meat and bacon. And they're also like, oh yeah, he's been sick. I wonder why.
And that's what made me laugh, because Melvin was sitting at the piano, which was a big part of his character, because he later explains why he actually knows how to play piano. What
It also explains his entire
triggered
character.
his complete OCD
Yeah.
is sitting around, he's playing the always look on the bright side of life, which
And side note, by the way, I could not help but think of like, thank you, Life of Brian. I could not think of that.
Right.
Like, it's always life's a piece of shit. It's not life's a kettle of fish. So,
oh, look at this fucking dog, man.
He's so
but
cute.
no, that was Jill. And then Jill's the one who like also I did a little bit of research, not too much, but that what I did said like anything that actually has the dog on screen for more than 30 seconds, that's Jill.
That's probably Jill.
And then like how it's sneak crawling.
Yeah.
And the one thing I love about that thing is he's like, "There's no trust anymore," and he says the most. And I even said it in my review. Well, it's not out yet, but I said in my review, Jack is really Jack. It's like what everybody thinks is Jack. He says it's not him, but he has those Jack-isms. There's no
Yeah.
anymore.
Yeah.
I was like, I see Jack Nicholson, and I raise you another Jack Nicholson on top. And as soon as the dog eats, he's like, "Oh, great!" And he has that little eyebrow lift that he does in every movie. It's like,
Well, the eyebrow lift and the glasses move that he does later in the their road trip montage where it's totally like he'll put it up and then he'll just do that one nod to make his sunglasses fall back down. It's like,
Yep.
okay, Jack, we know your moves, buddy.
yeah. And of course, the whole point of the whole interaction in the hospital with Simon, as Simon wants a mirror, and to be fair, the mirror scene, I immediately thought about Batman 1989. I am not even joking. At the theater, and every time I see it, I think about the Batman 89 Joker scene with the mirror and him laughing hysterically, but it's turned all the way upside down in this.
Yeah.
And I like the fact that like Frank comes in and he's sort of never seen Simon, and he looks
Goes, oh no.
Ooh.
Which is not as bad as fucking Yeardsley, who plays Jackie, who comes in, who just starts crying. That's not the reaction somebody wants.
Yeah. And then of course when Simon does come back, Frank is like, he goes to Melvin, is like, "I need you to keep the dog for a little bit longer. But I want you to return him like tomorrow, not today, tomorrow." And Melvin is, after he has that whole shtick where he goes to the restaurant and he has the dog outside, and Carol's like, "Aren't you afraid that nobody's going to steal the dog?" It's like, "Well, now I
wasn't.
do."
Well, now I do. Well, it also, he has that bag. He's like, the bacon's for the dog.
The thing is, he's walking down the street, and at a certain point, the dog mimics him, where
Starts
he's
stepping
not
out of the cracks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
on the cracks
It's
because
adorable.
he's OCD, and it's very adorable.
And he
And
picks him up. Don't you be like me.
and this is the first time he has. It's not really a father-son kind of a thing, but he has sort of a fatherly moment. Just like, don't be like me. And that dog really opens Melvin to actually caring for Carol. Because when he has to give up the dog, I know I'm skipping ahead. When he has to give up the dog, he goes back and he starts playing always
Look on the bright side of life. Yeah.
life, and he stops like over a dog.
Yeah, he's crying.
Kid
Yeah.
is crying, yeah.
Well, and also it's juxtaposed between that and Verdell is at the door. Like, where's my buddy?
Yeah,
Well, and then you notice when he comes back in and does that, he doesn't immediately go and wash his hands.
yep,
Yeah.
yep. His whole thing kind of, it like gets moved and twisted, and he forgets certain things. At a certain point, he like forgets to lock the door.
Yeah,
It's like,
that was at the very end. That was the biggest moment where it goes.
It's
like,
one of
wow,
those
I
things
forgot to
where
lock the
it
door.
kind of escalates into disrupting his whole agenda. And like I said, on the way, where he had that talk with, like, when Verdell was on the outside, he had that talk with Carol, and that he looks, she looks kind of
Old
old.
in the eyes.
And she tells him about her son. And when he does get to the restaurant and there's nobody there, and it's especially the day of where he gave up the dog, right? He gave up the dog. He goes to the restaurant. Carol's not there. There's a different.
Remember, he goes to his doctor for that. That's
Goes to his doctor, and
Yeah. It has a whole rant about you're always telling me to do something different. You're always telling me that I need to step out of my routine. And the doctor's like, yeah, but not like this.
Well, it also is like, well, you changed your office. Yeah, I also grew my beard out. It's been a couple of years.
yeah.
Yeah,
But
and
you don't notice stuff about me, is what he says. Yeah.
And when he walks out into the waiting room, though, he goes like, "That's when he actually says the line."
Yeah.
You ever think that maybe this is as good as it
Good
gets?
as it gets,
To
yeah.
a whole bunch of people that are trying to go through psychotherapy, it's like that's really fucked up, man.
You know what my first thought was after he said that line and left, and you see like the people in the room. It's like, dude, some of these people are going back home on the noose. This is like,
Right.
Yeah, I mean, it's like
I have to say, because he's not a psychologist. He's a
A
psychiatrist.
psychotherapist.
Like, he can like write prescription drugs.
Yeah.
So these people are not at a good spot.
Right.
Telling them that after you barged in was like a bit off. Yeah. Like I said, he does get to rest. That's the whole day of having him getting disrupted with the dog. So he gotten used to the dog. That's get disrupted. He goes to a restaurant. That gets disrupted.
well, and he gets thrown out. That
Yeah. He goes to his therapist, and the therapist throws him out after he complained. I think you've got the worst sidewalk in New York.
yeah,
And then goes to Carol's house to complain. Why isn't she
Like,
at
At
Large
work. Yep.
work? Which is the craziest thing you could ever imagine. Like, who the fuck are you to show up at my door for a stupid request like, I need you to serve me lunch or breakfast or whatever?
Yeah.
Which at this point of the movie, you're like, what the fuck is wrong with this guy?
exactly. Yeah,
Right? But it all turns out well, because as soon as he leaves, the boy has running a temperature. And as Melvin kind of pulls out, or a bad choice of words.
Bad turn of phrase, my friend.
Yeah,
Pulling out is the reason she has a kid.
Yes.
Carol runs in with her son, and she kind of hijacks the
Taxi.
cab,
Yeah, right.
and he realizes, oh, this is a problem.
Yeah. And once they get to the actual hospital too, he even has the gall there because again, it's all about him. So, is there any chance you're going to be back at work today?
Yeah.
No.
Right.
No, and that prompts him to go to his publicist, and my favorite scene of the entire, or my favorite line of the entire movie. I'm not sure it's correct.
Well, actually, Jillian mentioned it earlier in chat.
Yes.
Yeah.
I want to get to that point with Julie Betts because I know her
Julie
name.
Benz, Julie Benz,
Was both
which is so odd because I'm doing
and in Dexter.
I'm doing a retrospective on Angel right now, and she's in a lot of it.
So Melvin goes to his publicist. He asks her for something that we don't actually know at this point, but she asks him to write down something for her son because he's in Rutgers or accepted. No, he was accepted to Brown.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, fine.
That's great.
Hey,
Whatever.
that's great. And she's like, fuck this
The
guy.
publicist is like, oh my God, if you didn't make me so much money. Oh.
And
And he's trying so hard to avoid this girl.
yeah. And it's like, he's like, how does it like to be here?
Oh God.
Go away, please.
Oh, why would you do that?
And he's like, oh no, just tell me, how do you write women so well? And he's like, I think of a man and I take out accountability and responsibility or something
I
like
take away
that.
reason and accountability.
And accountability. I was like, Drex? Is it Drexel? No?
Yeah.
I was like, okay, I guess. And it is a line because I thought it was some guy, like a Kevin Samuels type of guy that wrote it. No. It's another writer. He's called with the great name of John Updike.
Yeah. That's John Updike. Yeah. Yep.
Great. That always great when I get to research movies and I come across those type of names, which is like Hancock or something more fun like that.
I dated a guy named Tickham once.
Or Hillcoat. Now, to me,
well, there's one that's never mind. Go ahead.
To me, the next scene after that is Dr. Betts coming in.
Betts, yeah.
As Carol kind of walks home and she sees like a car that says MD. I would never pick up on that. That's very like American thing to see an MD on the thing.
Yeah.
For us, it's actually in the front. If it's a doctor that comes over, like we have doctors that do house calls, it's in the front.
Yeah, they're very unusual here anymore.
It's basically for police. They have that thing, and some of them do have like not a siren, but a lamp. It doesn't glow. It turns on red, and it says MD on duty or something like that. So they can just go. Yeah. But she sees the MD. She goes in, and she doesn't see her mom because her mom is not there. Apparently, the boy like saw an MD, and he let the MD and
her mom was there. They were just in the other room. Yeah, they were just in the other room.
It's like, oh, you saw the present. Never mind. Sorry. So you saw the present, and they sit down with Spanky Spangler, who's a doctor in this one too.
Yeah,
but a little bit bigger.
Yeah.
Harold Ramis, rest in peace. And to me, again, going into the research was like, oh,
what did you say?
That would have been great if Bill Murray was Melvin Udall, and his friend Harold Ramis to
be the doctor,
to save Carol, which would have been a completely different dynamic that they could have had a little play on it. But
it still works.
As I said, what is the exact line that Carol says?
Conscience.
Fucking bastard HMOs, something like that.
Yeah.
And he said,
And
well,
he's-
I think it's their technical name.
I think that's
Right, he
their
said, I
technical
think
name.
that's their technical name, yes.
You know, to you guys in the United States, yeah, it's probably how I would have felt as well.
Yeah.
We have a version of HMO over here, and they are bastards, pieces of shit. But you do get a decent medical service. So yeah, I would have ripped my fucking eyes out if somebody would say, "Well, you can't do a scratch test because you're not covered. Fuck you.
Right.
Go away."
Well, like, we can do one. It's still going to cost you like $3,000.
Yeah.
They're not even all that accurate.
No, that's true. Which is odd too. It depends on what hospital you go to because they're not all. Yeah, the American healthcare system is really fucked up. It's not all unilateral. Yeah.
On to bigger and better things. The one thing that kind of after the doctor leaves and they're both mom and daughter, Carol and her mom, were like, they were blown away that they could get test results the same day.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then when he leaves, she's like, Dr. Beth says, well, Mr. Udall is going to be billed because the cost would be considerable, which you would expect. And as he leaves, the next scene is she doesn't want Melvin in her life at all. But her mom is like, this one you keep. This one you cannot send back.
So, I
Yeah,
think
the
she says
gift.
it's
You
like-
can't send the gift back.
So,
This,
like,
this
this is
gift
not
you
sending-
can't send back.
Yeah.
this is not like a pair of stockings or a string of pearls. You can't send this gift back, and you know it. Yeah.
Yeah, but Carol is like, I don't want a crazy man in my life. I don't.
But he's weird.
weird. He's weird that way. And then she cannot go to sleep, so she goes to his house. Now I have to be real careful right about now.
Yeah. Make sure you don't show the
Well,
wrong.
I was gonna say there's one bit too in between there where there is the conversation between Simon and Melvin.
Yes.
About the dog.
when he goes over. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's Simon actually punches him.
Well, first he's like, we can both call the dog, and the dog the dog of course goes to Melvin, and he's like, it's the bacon.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like, I'm gonna do something kind for you. I'm gonna teach you the trick. See, the thing is, I keep bacon in my pocket. But the thing is, even when he shows him the bacon, Verdell still goes to Melvin.
Verdell still goes to Melvin.
Yeah.
And
It's a stupid dog. Would you just go now?
the thing is, he went to him to give him soup,
Yep.
but Simon.
No. The soup line's later. The soup.
Oh, no, yeah, it's soups later.
Right, but he comes in and Simon has has that first time where he stands up to Melvin. It's like, your neighbor is terrified, and you can like see the thing because before Melvin comes in, he has that little a piece of paper where he had names and they're all crossed out and has
Yeah, it's like,
people to ask
friends
for-
I can ask for money. It's like,
Yeah.
wow. All right.
Yeah. And he
Yes.
ends up the call with the last friend, and none of them would give him any
None of them.
money.
Yeah, so he actually eventually ends up having to break down because Jackie ends up talking to him like, well, I have to talk to my parents. So it's,
And of course,
and you could say, yes, Jillian, it was a tit-bit nipply in the hallway.
yes, a little titillation for the audience.
On the great part where he brings out the towel for her feet, and she
Her
She
feet-
just grabs it because she automatically thinks he's not a piece of shit.
yeah, because she was drenched and she was destroying his carpet. Basically,
what I love is that in that moment, you could see the realization on his face that, oh, I should probably help the person, not the carpet.
Yeah.
When she takes it, he has that look on his face.
But the thing is, she doesn't want to. She so doesn't want him in her life. She goes like a bit over the top. It's like, I am never going to sleep with you ever. And
What was
he's
this line? This is like, we don't take refusals of betting requests
Yes.
until 9 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
something like that. And it's like, that's weird. But then he couldn't sleep. Now
Yep.
she couldn't sleep. She came to his like in the rain. She came over, said what she had to say, and left. And he's like, okay.
After he told her to put it in a letter.
Yeah, he goes to bed. Yeah, he told her to put it in a letter. He goes to bed and he can't sleep, and he gets a soup and he goes to Simon, and he has that conversation with him, which was completely weird, by the way. And then he's like, "Oh, you made me feel better because
Good talk.
good talk." And Simon's like on the verge of like killing
A
him,
breakdown.
like completely being shattered and being homeless. That's what he was facing. And he barely said anything to him. And he's just, oh, good talk. Good friend.
Yeah.
Good job. And
Thanks.
he leaves. Thanks. And he just leaves, which was,
Yeah.
who knows. All right. I like this bit where it's like con science.
Science.
That
That's
can't be right. Yeah.
From this movie, I learned how to spell conscience.
Conscience,
Same. Anytime I have problems spelling the word.
It's con science.
Little personal story about that.
Okay.
Do you know how I learned to actually spell that? Doing a book review on To Kill a Mockingbird when I was in 8th grade. Do you know why?
Why?
On the back of it, there was a review saying it's a striking review on a man facing the crisis of conscience. I wrote that in my book report. I got an A+. Apparently, my teacher did not read the reviews.
Or
Didn't even read the back of the damn book. Wow.
back of the damn book. And then, of course, in the morning, Frank has that breakfast thing, or brunch thing,
Yeah.
and he's like, I need you to drive. It's like, I need you to drive Simon to his parents so he can ask for money. And it's like, he's like, I need you to take the car. It's like, do you drive? It's like, I drive like the wind, but I'm not going to do it.
And he also says the line that I don't think I'll ever be able to forget from this movie because it's the dumbest line. Think white and get serious.
Right.
What?
Serious.
What?
And then he finally talks him into it, and he's like, "Okay, you can go." And the guy's and Cuba's looking at him like, "What?"
It's like,
And he's like, "We don't like each other enough to do that. Just yeah."
hey,
Like
if there's a foundation that helps people like you, let me know.
And Carol comes in, and she's sort of like, she talks. He kind of opens up the talk with, "Is the thing that I like with the doctor
Is
okay?
that working out okay? Yeah.
Out okay?" And she's like, and she starts going into her spiel.
Well, at first he hands her back the note like, I know. No.
Yeah, no notes.
No.
No need notes.
Then why'd you tell her to write one?
And then she makes him take it anyway. Yeah.
Yeah.
The
Well, she
thing-
goes to this spiel too. She says, well, now I want you to do a favor for me. I'd rather not. What does that have to do with anything?
Exactly. Which, like, she doesn't really owe him anything, but he.
I mean, she feels like she owes him something because let's face it, the kid's doing so much better already, and someone does something for you, like even if they're this crazy, you feel like you owe them something.
But the thing about the reading of the notes, first of all, if you know Friends, it's 18 pages front and back.
Yeah.
One thing. Actually,
I fell asleep.
asleep? No. Helen Hunt actually read the whole thing. It was written, fully written.
Oh wow.
They shot her reading the entire letter, which was not 18 pages, it was about 4 or 5 pages. And they decided to cut it away. Just they needed certain points, and then had sort of Melvin cut her away and going into, you have to come on this trip with me with Simon because you owe me, and she's like,
And I
okay.
need a buffer.
Yeah. It's like I don't want him to go all gay on me, I would say.
No, it was
Nice.
like he utilized a very, very different turn of phrase, and I can't remember what it was, but still, it's like, what?
Yes.
What did you just say? Like, I know what you're inferring, but what was that?
All right. We'll have a stop here because I want to have that full trip, because
The road trip, yeah.
the full road trip is it's a full redemption arc for me. We'll stop here and we'll do our second game of the night. It is called Screen Fighter.
Round 1. Fight.
Screen Fighter is where we take 2 movies, pit them together, and see which one is the best one. If there's no discernible difference between the two, both of them are good or both of them are bad, we fall into our criteria. Thank you, dog. Friday, Saturday evening,
Sorry.
out with the boys, out with the girls, out with their significant other, 2 movies in a vacuum. Which one will we pop in? And we will go to there and there and there. Ba-bam. Tremors or A Nightmare on Elm Street. I had 2
3.
1984 movies,
Holy shit.
and I closed them by accident.
Oh, you. Well, that.
Well, to be fair, this one's extremely difficult, and also both of these posters are fantastic.
I love the Nightmare on Elm Street
Street
2
3, yeah.
poster. I've never seen it.
That's fantastic.
I've seen the other one though, some other place, and at a fan art thing. But yeah.
Yeah, 3 is not my favorite. I think I would have to go with Tremors.
Okay. Or feelings?
Well, unfortunately, I have to disagree with you because actually 3 is my favorite one, which we reviewed it. When we reviewed it, I told you that like this is my favorite Nightmare on Elm Street.
A lot of people like 3.
I think I told you my favorite was number 4, right? Or number 1. I don't remember which one.
No, you said you really you loved 3. You thought 4 was good, but you thought 1 was the best at that time.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right. I was like, I always jump around between because I really like 4. I told you, I've seen the first 4 when around the time where we kind of covered 3.
Yeah.
I've seen 2, which was fucking awful.
Oh
2
yeah.
was awful. 5's bad.
5's not good.
like 5.
6 is better. It's not as good, but anyway, I really like Tremors though.
Tremors is a great film, so I wouldn't mind losing this one because
I'm gonna go with
it's a young Kevin Bacon.
Yeah.
Between 1 and 3 in terms of liking Freddy, but I like Tremors a little bit more.
That's okay.
On the Waterfront or A Quiet Place. I have seen A Quiet Place, by the way. I didn't like it.
I mean, it's okay. It's just not very good. I would have to go with On the Waterfront.
That's one of Brando's best films. On the Waterfront's
I
fantastic.
could have been a contender.
It's such a great fucking movie.
You know what? If you're looking for like a decent drama film, it still holds up, even though it's like sort of outdated, black and white, all that good stuff. It still is a solid drama movie if you're into that stuff. Air Force One or Natural Born Killers.
Air Force One. I hate natural born killers.
Okay.
Outside of Get Off My Plane, I don't much care for Air Force One. Natural Born Killers, on the other hand, I've got a soft spot for it. It's just because, the soundtrack is really good. Really, really good.
I would go, first of all, I like Air Force One. It's pretty fucking good, solid 1997, which was a great year for action movies.
Harrison Ford.
Yeah.
Harrison Ford, I like even that role, sort of like a Jack Ryan role without being Jack Ryan at all.
Yeah.
But I like Natural Born Killers. RDJ as his first time playing an Australian.
First.
Yes. Yeah.
The second time was Tropic Thunder.
Sure.
He played a lot of things in that movie.
Yes, he did.
Yes.
Hey, he was the dude trying to be a dude, probably trying to be another dude.
Dude, yeah.
I just love Natural Born Killers better, and I would from the two, with nothing else, to watch, I would definitely watch Natural Born Killers.
I'd rather eat my leg.
They kind of do it in that movie.
I know.
The Parent Trap, or Final Destination 2.
If that had been the original Parent Trap, I'd have gone with that, but Final Destination 2.
What's your original Parent Trap?
Haley Mills and Haley Mills.
Thank you.
Yep.
That came up this week. I don't remember when it was, and people were like, "Yeah, the original one is the Olsen twins." It's like, no.
What?
No.
What?
Haley Mills. Young people in the chat.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. Haley Mills and Haley Mills. Oh my God. Yeah, okay, sorry.
Well, obviously, especially the terrible things that happened to Lindsay Lohan in her life at Final Destination 2.
Don't care. Doomsday. I have not seen Doomsday.
That's it's more of a grindhousey
It
film,
doesn't matter,
but it's also that, yeah.
Yeah, I also hadn't seen it.
Okay.
This one's way too easy for me.
Okay.
Fidelio.
Which is
Fidelio.
Eyes Wide Shut?
It's a password.
Okay.
He's saying Charlie Angels.
I really don't remember this movie. Like
Charlie's Angels is a good one.
You're for Charlie's Angels?
Yeah.
I like Kubrick. You know I like Kubrick, but I Eyes Wide Shut is you watch it and we're like, oh, this is the last Kubrick movie. Good. In Charlie's Angels, you get entertained.
Yes.
All I'm saying is, if you think the horror stories from The Shining were bad, oh boy, he went full Kubrick on that set.
I heard of a story. We might have to cover the movie to get to that story, but
Yeah.
it involves a naked Nicole Kidman in tears.
Yes, that
You know-
story is
you know that
reportedly
story?
true. Yes.
Interesting.
Okay, Back to the Future Part 2, or The Incredibles.
Back to the Future Part 2.
No, I
Did it?
actually really did enjoy Pixar's take on the superheroes, but come on, it's Back to the Future Part 2.
Yeah.
Come on, the hoverboard scenes
Oh, yeah.
alone. Yeah, we're done. Conversation's over. Also, look behind you. We're done. Okay.
Not gonna lie, that was an easy choice for me. June 1984, or A Time to Kill.
I think I'd go with Dune, but that's just because I watched that movie a lot as a kid, so I got a lot of memories for it, and I don't really remember A Time to Kill.
Okay, it's pretty good. Personally,
It is a good movie.
very, very good movie.
Yeah.
Very good movie.
It is
I mean,
good,
I know
but-
I've seen it, but it's like, it
It's-
didn't stick as well as Dune has, so.
Time for a rewatch. I know you're more of a sci-fi and fantasy and horror stuff.
It's a very, very, very serious drama.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's one that, again, given the criteria, you wouldn't sit around and watch for funsies.
Feelings, Dune.
It's fucking David Lynch, Dune. Duh.
By the way, Amorata, have you seen ever the Spice Diver version? Watch it. It's on YouTube.
It's good.
It adds about, I think, 48 minutes extra.
Oh, shit, they add time?
Yeah,
Okay.
so it's only like 8.5 hours then.
No.
About it.
It's 2 hours 58.
Huh, I'll have to check that out.
And the extra scenes that they've added, you can tell that is sort of they couldn't upscale it. Let's just say that. But it rearranges a few things and makes it a little bit more
The cohesive narrative.
close to the book
Yeah.
that they couldn't actually explain regularly. Let's just say that.
Okay.
It's a very interesting cut. It's a sort of a fan cut rather
Okay.
than the extended one. Right. Last pairing. Pet Cemetery.
Oh, that one's
A Great Pumpkin. Charlie Brown.
These are just so different.
Speaking of Stephen King.
but they're both kind of spoopy.
Yeah. I mean, you'd watch them both the same type of year, and it's like I love both of them. And
By the way, I did not I could not set this up. This is completely random, remember?
yeah, I mean, when you're pulling things out of a hat, you don't really expect to see this combination at all.
Yes.
Crap. I'm gonna go with Pet Cemetery.
Okay. Feelings?
I'm also gonna go with that. My love for Stephen King.
I
Even though the Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown, it's fun. It's fun.
It's a hard one. I mean, it's a rough choice.
They're both like meant to be seen around October time, so yes, Halloween. And Charlie Brown is a Halloween special.
Yep.
I'm gonna watch Charlie Brown. I'm gonna click on Pet Cemetery because I'm being outvoted. That's fine. I'm gonna watch Charlie Brown.
I would put it this way: if it were to be as several other of Stephen King's works, like even Pet Cemetery too. Nope. Charlie Brown all the way. What's the other one? I can never remember the name of the one. Horror Amorata. It's the one where they're like half like werecat people with the mother and the son.
I know which one you're talking about. It's
such an awful film, and
like they
it should have not
sleep
been
or
made.
something like that, or
You're talking about Charlie
Sleeper?
Brown?
No. It's another Stephen
no.
King, another terrible Stephen King that would have been like up there. I'd be
Cat
like, no.
people?
Yeah, it's
yeah, they're
very
like
odd.
werecats, sleepwalkers. There we go.
Sleepwalkers. That's what it is.
Okay,
Yeah,
Sleepwalker.
yeah.
Oh man.
It's very bad. Well, that even 1408. I would rather watch. Yeah, what you've seen 1408, Mephisto. And
Let's put it this way: there's incest.
Yes, Sleepwalkers is about a mother and son in a very.
And they kill someone with a corn cob.
Yes, that does happen in that movie. Yeah,
Sideways?
No,
I'm
long
joking.
ways.
it's the long way.
I know. I know. All right.
Sideways would be a lot more interesting because it's like, how the hell would you do that?
Yeah, right.
You shove it really, really fast. No, I'm joking. Joking. Don't do that, kid.
I'm waiting for Meph to go. It's called physics, dummy.
Get it going fast enough, you can kill anybody with anything.
Lube, dummy. No, never mind. Anyway, enough about last night. Okay, so Melvin is going on a trip, so he has to meticulously craft his suitcase, which is just great. And then Carol calls him, and again, she flips his head because she's like, are we going to eat like at a fancy restaurant? So do I need like a fancy dress? And he's like, I don't know. Well, yes. Okay. Yeah. So
We'll do that.
We'll do that. I was like, does he mention that soft shell crab place?
No.
No, he says like,
Later on, right?
no, it's like, what do you think I was going to ask you? Whether or not crabs were still in season. Yeah.
See,
It's the hard shell crab question comes later. But.
Yeah, the soft shell crab. Yeah.
Paul, thank you for mentioning Beer Fest because not many people remember that movie.
Oh,
and those
God.
that do, most don't remember that film fondly, but I do. It's a Broken Lizard film.
I try to forget that every time. And then people remind me again.
So the introduction between Carol and Simon. which
Wow,
was
that's great. Yeah,
the most un-PC introduction.
Carol the waitress, Simon the other F word.
The F word.
Wow.
And they were like, nice to meet you. And then they go in the car and they just drive. And what Melvin...
Well,
both kinda
that's
look at
not
each
what
other.
happens. You are skipping a whole lot there. They go to get in the car, and she's like, "Are you going to be okay back there?" And he's like, "Yeah, I'm fine." And she's like, "No, you're not." And then they all have to rearrange because she's concerned about this guy, and he's standing there like, ugh. And then she sits him back, and he has to scoot himself all the way forward until he's squishing his junk with the steering wheel.
I was gonna skip that.
Oh, you see, you can't skip that. It's a good part.
No, it's a good.
It
point.
is a good. It is a good part because it kind of shows you how Melvin is willing to accommodate Carol because he is basically starting to fall in love with her without actually knowing it.
But it also demonstrates how she demonstrates to him how you care for other people. Because I do think that's part of it is him seeing from somebody else how you care for other people. So he begins to gain an understanding of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the
Did we
one
have-
thing that kind of
Go ahead.
the one thing that kind of starts off the trip is the fact that Melvin was not only prepared with his luggage, he was also
soundtrack.
prepared with the soundtrack of the
Yes.
entire trip because he had it numbered as in good for a ride, good for a bad moment, good for a good moment, sort of a pre-rearranged sort of a mixtapes of things. It's CDs, but it's a mixtape of CDs ready to go. And when he inserts the first CD and it comes on as sort of a soft jazzy number, and she's like, "Oh, I like that music." And then they continue on, but I'm going to move on ahead because otherwise we won't have time to cover everything to the talk.
Oh
Yes.
yes, the tales of the abuse, which is, oh boy,
Yep.
Hard.
Go ahead.
this was very much one of those kind of Goodwill Hunting moments. Again, like it's not your fault.
To me, it was to me, Simon was the most transparent. Maybe because of like I know a lot of gay people, grew up with a lot of gay people, so I kind of to me that was a gay person's stereotype. Oh, the son of a conservative, not really conservative, but a conservative dad. The dad wanted him to be a lawyer or a doctor or whatever, but the son turns out to be an artist. And I like I said it in my review. It's not the fact that he's gay. So the dad catches Simon painting his mom naked. But again, the dad was pissed at Simon not because he was gay. He was pissed at him because he was an artist and he wanted him to be something else. And he thought that the sort of being an artist is not a good thing. It's not a helpful for society kind of a thing. So
Do you think that was the case though? Because it seems as though it was the opposite.
I think it was both.
I have to say, this is very much open to interpretation. I'm just giving you my interpretation.
No, it's fine. No, it's
Okay?
fair. Yeah.
So you can say, well, he saw his son with his naked mom doing a painting, so he was angry. Okay. Also, he didn't like him because he was gay. Also, he didn't like him because he wanted to do some artsy fartsy kind of a thing. You can take your pick, and all of it would fit depending on your own personal point of view. But the story itself, the bullet point story, was sort of a cliche to me. It's sort of it's an artist's son, a gay artist's son, rebelling against the conservative dad. And
I
the
think
mom,
that's
the
fair.
mom is caught in the crossfire of she loves the dad and she loves the son, and she has to pick sides, and she picked the dad's side.
But to be fair, I think at the time that it was, specifically when it was written, it wasn't really that much of a cliche. It became a cliche after.
I think it might depend
was
on how old you are if it was a cliche or not.
Depends how old you are. To me,
Because
this is 1997. This is the year Ellen came out on TV. I believe it was either 97 or 98.
I think you're right. I think it was 97 because I think she got another like half season and then they canceled her.
And the gay acceptance at this point, especially when it comes to like pop culture, was normalized. Really,
Hey, Meph, Not that they're saying anything wrong with that.
So gay acceptance at this point was at a pretty much of a high point where, yeah, we can get this character to interact with. This is why Melvin kind of looks like a dick because, oh, we've already accepted this. This is the norm. Why are you left behind back there?
Yeah,
being-
why are you being such an ass?
Yeah, why are you back there being an asshole? Just get with the times, dude.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm saying like, well, the reason why you're upset is you're upset because you're still harboring a grudge. You're still upset about it. Because there are people out there, they're telling great stories. You mentioned something about noodle salad. Like,
Yeah.
where did that come from, Melvin? Like, what? People are out there on boats eating noodle salad. Like, what?
And that's their story.
Yeah.
Summers and noodle salad.
Now, remember when I said at the beginning that they argued about certain things that shut down a production? Noodle salad was one of those things.
I would not be
Seriously?
surprised because that line makes no fucking sense.
Jack did not understand what the fuck is a noodle salad. He didn't understand, like, noodles and salad don't mix up together. And James L. Brooks told him it's a Jewish thing. You don't get it. So he had a few of his Jewish friends who are also like producers, creators, telling Jack, dude, this is a thing, a noodle salad. By the way, it is a thing.
It's totally a thing. I literally bought stuff for noodle salad this afternoon. And
It's,
I don't know why it's a Jewish thing. I've done it all my life.
I know it is not only Jewish, exclusively Russian Jewish thing.
Seriously. Yeah, because I've done noodle salad my whole life, and there's no Russian or Jew in my family.
Well, because the only thing I was thinking instead of noodle salad for horror Amorata for us in the States, like if they would have called it macaroni salad. It would
Well, I mean,
kinda-
yeah, macaroni salad's
or
another noodle.
pasta salad. It's kind of the
pasta
same. It's the same thing, but that's more ubiquitous. But like, because typically, like they don't call it noodle salad.
You see, we've called it noodle salad. But I mean, I guess if they really wanted to make it more American, they could have gone with potato salad.
Yeah,
The most ridiculous thing to argue about. That's what I'm saying.
but still,
Yeah,
like,
you're
shut
wrong,
down
wrong.
production. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? Noodle salad.
And he didn't want to say it. Jack didn't want to say noodle salad. So come up with a different salad. Come up with a different salad. Noodle salad does not make sense. It's like,
Say Caesar salad, whatever. Just
really?
gotta wonder why he harped so hard on the salad, though. Did he just think it was?
I
don't
don't
know.
know. That's
don't
the
know.
story. That's what I got. It comes from an interview that I've seen that is so out there. It's like one of those things where, like I said, James Earl Brooks said, well, there was an actress that I really wanted, but she wanted like a lot of money.
Yeah.
Okay. The thing is, Carol wants to listen to Simon's story, and Melvin does not. So he interjects with his story.
Yeah.
And in the course of events, we learn about Simon and we learn about Melvin as well. We don't really know anything about Carol's backstory, apart from the fact that she has a sickly kid, but that's already established like a few scenes before that. So it really didn't matter. Carol's like, oh, who's the father and all that stuff. I don't think anybody asked,
Nope.
right? So they go to the restaurant, or they say, well, we're gonna go. I want to go out, right? Her mother said, I want to go out, so she takes Carol after it kind of has some sort of a support structure, and then this point, she goes to Melvin's like, you're gonna take me out. She dresses nice, and then she has to wait
An hour.
an hour,
Or longer.
right? And cinematically, one of the best things is he goes out of the shower, opens up the door, and a
Bill of steam.
haze of
Steam,
steam
yeah.
comes out of the shower. Now we've seen him like wash his hands with really hot water, but not like this.
Yeah.
Like actually take a shower where it's like, buddy.
So over the top. It's just to me, cinematically, it just looks great, and it made me laugh, which is ultimately the best thing. They go into the restaurant, and of course, it's a suit and tie restaurant. And the guy at the front desk is like, "Okay, we've got your suit and tie," and he gets to that, and he's like, "No, I'm not wearing that." Like, I don't know who wore that before. It's like,
I don't know. When you cleaned it, didn't we just clean it last week? Pretty sure we don't clean these.
Well, because Carol's even trying to cover for him. It's like, well, this is a very nice place. I'm certain that they have them dry cleaned. Like, no, I don't know.
yeah.
And Carol's like, come on, man, fucking help me.
And he's like, "I'm not gonna let you inject me with the plague." It's like, whoa, you went like so far. And he goes to this. She
Runs down
stays-
the street.
Yeah, she stays at the bar. He goes down the street at this tailor, and the tailor's got a floor that is so fractured, like it has triangles.
No. That one.
Yeah, it's like this one.
Coat, that tie.
Yeah. And it's like, okay, fine, let's go. And as he enters, I want to get to, he sort of like, he gets in, and the maitre d', the guy who wanted to give him the suit, is like, she's at the bar, and he says, "I'm going to stay here and just look." And he has sort of that longing look at her. And when they kind of meet up and go to the table, she goes, and she's so not accustomed to a fancy restaurant where the waiter is behind her, and she's like, "My drink is following me."
It's like,
And so she takes an extra turn or two to make the waiter follow right behind her.
That's sort of that dance move, right? It's like, oh, and he's behind her, and the actor, the guy who has that drink, cracks an actual smile.
yeah.
Not planned. They kept it in.
Nice.
Well, and actually, Carol has a near flub. It's like, wow, you look very nice.
Yeah.
She was gonna say sexy, but oh, Carol wants to give a little something.
This is the point where she, like I said, she kind of gets into Melvin's attitude, we'll call it, beyond his assholeness. But she's not quite there. So she sits down, and he's like, "I need you to give me a compliment."
Well, first he says something awful.
Yeah.
To her. And then she's like, "I need you to give me a compliment. I need you to do it right now or I'm leaving."
Yeah, he said, like, everybody's dressed nice and you're in a house dress. It's like, okay,
Yeah.
I'm leaving. It's like, no. It's like, stay. It's like, I need you to give me a compliment. And he was going to, it's like, wait. Let's order first. And he yells across the
This goes, by the way, the waitstaff there must be excellent, because the guy goes, "Okay, I'll get your waiter."
And then instead of just saying the compliment, he just tells her what got him to do certain things in order for him to actually get to this road trip, which we don't know because we haven't seen it. It's like, understand, I've got these pills, I don't like taking them. And he goes into like, why is he not taking the pills, and why is like, get to the point. And as soon as he gets to the point, it kind of hits both of them.
First she goes, "Why is this a compliment for me?"
Yeah.
And he goes, "You make me want to be a better man."
Which immediately
Yeah.
melts her, like, in her seat, like gushing. She's about to have his baby.
Well, she says, then she asks him, "So how are things going with the pills?" And she sees him start flubbing because he's talking about how the pills are starting to affect him, and she just lays one on him.
Yep.
And
And then he fucks everything up.
Of
Yeah.
course.
after he gets this line, which she says, "When you first got into the restaurant, I thought you were handsome." This is what every woman says about Jack Nicholson ever in his life. I never understood it, but
I don't get it either. I think he's attractive, but I don't at the same time. I don't know what it is.
Don't know. He's the best Satan ever.
Yes.
Well, apart from Al Pacino, but I don't know. I'm not a woman. I don't see it.
I don't understand it. I wish I could explain it. He's not physically there's just something in the aura of him. That's all I got.
Yeah, and he ruins it by sticking to his sort of assholish self and explaining why he wanted her in the car to be sort of a buffer. Maybe if you've kissed Simon.
No,
right?
well, no. Maybe if you had sex with Simon,
sex.
Yeah.
because that goes back to what he had actually previous as Simon too. Was like, have you ever like looked at a woman and basically got hard? It's like, dude, what the fuck?
What?
Exactly. And it's like, and she's like, you brought me here. You expected what? What did you expect would happen? And he's like
maybe you have sex with
and he
me. Maybe you have
fumbles
sex with
off
him.
and she just leaves. I would have left. And
Yep.
he's just sitting at the bar. No, it happens after the Simon
After he
thing.
calls his mom.
Simon calls home, gets through to his mom. His mom is like, I wanted to give you money, blah, blah, blah.
Oh no, this is.
Hey, I don't need anything from you. That's fine.
No,
Go ahead.
this is when he leaves
No.
the message. Because
This is when he leaves the message. Yeah.
he gets the call from his mom.
That's right. You're right. But the guy at the bar, Melvin is talking to him, is like, at the end of the day, I sit here and I talk to this.
The question is,
moronic
horror Amorata, was the bartender really ever there?
Stop it.
We'll never know.
That's a Shining reference, everybody.
Stop it with your unreliable narrative.
Narrator. No, but the thing is, I do love the line that he says though. 'Cause it's like some sap over here pushing the last legal drug.
Yeah.
Like,
and the guy looks at him like a fat Jeremy Clarkson type dude. And he's like, It's like, please, dude, do yourself a favor. Don't
just
look
Jameson with the water back.
Yeah, and takes the water back. And then he goes into Simon. It's like Carol comes in. She's mad. It's like, I need a shower. And Simon's like, I need to go to bed. And as soon as his room light is out, the bathroom light is on, and he sees her humanity, I guess, her inner beauty coupled with the outside beauty as well. The moment is like, he starts to draw, and she turns around, is like, what are you doing? It's like, I'm drawing you. And she's like, huh? She has sort of a New York, huh? What? It's like, I'm not that beautiful. It's like, no, I can see your beauty. That slender, like whatever thigh, that long neck. And as soon as he says long neck, she's like,
her posture changes. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, ooh, maybe I am pretty.
To me, that added to the comedy because it's not a ha-ha, laughs per minute kind of a thing, but it's sort of a funny little way of he's drawing her out of her shell in a way that Melvin does not, because he does it because it's his process. He does that to everyone, not specifically her. Like Melvin berates everyone because that's what he like. It's just created that little comedic moment where she does like that, right? Oh, somebody thinks I'm pretty. And it goes into this section where he draws
a little bit just because just a side note real quick, we'll jump right back. What she was talking to her mother about, how she was envious of that one couple she saw, and how she gave them a dirty look, and she's like, well, because I haven't been with a man in so long and everything, and now she feels really in her own way just completely out of sorts because now Spencer is feeling better and doesn't need her as much anymore.
Yeah.
And at a certain point, he's like, I can't draw, and he rips
Just rips his cast.
Yeah, rips his cast off, and
he's like, ow. Okay, I can draw now. When Melvin comes in, they have their breakfast, and he's like, "Did you have sex?"
Sex with her? It was like, then he goes, "Oh, I'm sorry,
No,
we're here."
it was better.
Better than
He held me.
exactly what I needed. You go, Carol. You get yours. And that's when Simon has the conversation.
Simon has that conversation with his mom, and his mom calls him. Like, I heard the message. I couldn't pick up the phone. It's like, oh, it's okay, Mom, because he had that sort of a redemption moment where basically he got his groove back. Oh, my feelings, stop judging me.
You're fine.
He's got his.
His name is Simon, by the way, not Stella. Okay.
Stella. So he sort of overcomes that barrier that kind of closed when he got beat up, and he couldn't create anything. And Carol, as he draw her from her shell, she drew him from his shell. Yeah. The fact that they're a random people that got connected through Melvin for two totally different reasons kind of made him be better and her feeling better with herself, but she doesn't really like Melvin as he is.
At that point.
Wants to see,
what's interesting too, just as an aside, from that call too, we get the fact that the entire purpose of the entire trip was in order for Simon to get money. But when his mother actually opens up, is like, "Do you need money?" He flat out refuses.
Yep.
He's going to stand up for himself.
Yeah, and there's when they're at the gas station, we see Melvin talk to somebody, but we don't know.
He's talking to Frank.
Yeah.
He's talking to Frank, but we don't actually. We know because we've seen the movie so many times. But when he talks, it's like you don't really know who exactly who's he talking to. It's like, move this there. You have to be there.
Well, because he's talking about the dog too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then when they get back to the house, before they go up the steps, Carol's like, "I don't like you anymore. I don't want to know you anymore."
Yeah.
And it's kind of a crushing moment in the same vein as she did, where she said, I don't want to sleep with you ever, ever, ever. And he couldn't sleep because of it.
Mm-hmm.
And when they go up and Simon realizes that Melvin has done a very nice thing and take him in. Right?
Well, it seems like you're going to have to stay here.
Yeah. Because somebody sublet your apartment and blah, blah, blah. We kind
And
of
he gives him a room and everything. And
also when they go in, that when Verdell comes in.
Yeah, mommy.
Simon even says, "Mommy and Daddy are home."
And
which is exactly what my gay uncles actually would do when they go home with their dogs.
Mm-hmm.
Legitimately.
It's so funny because he did it on purpose, and he looks at Melvin's like, "I'm just teasing."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, even then when they're in that room, when Simon says, "Melvin, I love you," and Melvin turns around and goes, "You know, I would be the luckiest guy if that did it for me."
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because in a way, like I said, he's being an asshole to everyone, not specifically towards gay people, but at a certain point, even Simon gets it.
Yeah.
Right? Even Simon gets it. So he moves past that point into the point where he's the one going into Melvin's room, and he's the one pushing Melvin. It's like, don't wait till tomorrow. Don't
Call her.
Sit down. Call her. Just do what you do and just push forward and make sure if you feel something towards her, you make sure that she knows. Because otherwise, what are we doing here, right?
Well, because he flat out calls him out after Carol calls him, and after that conversation, he says, "So what are you going to do? You're so lucky. You know exactly what you want. You love her. Go after her.
Yeah.
And if you don't, what are you going to do? Do you want me to tuck you back into bed?"
He takes on Melvin's personality for just a few minutes,
Yeah.
kind of like he did back at the beginning when he was trying to call Verdell.
Yeah.
And
Exactly. Where he's like, he sort of mimics Jack, but not really. But he takes on Melvin's trait, and it seems to work, right? And now it works on Melvin himself, where he calls her, but she doesn't really want to talk to her, to him. And Simon's like, "Don't wait, go
over there."
like get her, because it's meant to be, or whatever."
And showing the fact that also just as the pills and everything, that his personality traits are changing, and the fact that he has actually overcome a lot of his OCD tendencies.
Yep.
This is when he actually has that moment where he goes, "I forgot to
lock the door."
Yeah, and for us as viewers, we're like, "Oh, that's right. The routine has changed. Now there's an opening. He can do it because he's overcome some of his routines that kind of hampered him from actually going out the door and interact with people."
Right.
In that act of actually going out the door and interacting with people,
He's left himself open, so to speak.
and he actually goes to Carol, and she rebuffs him, but he's like set to like, "I want to do this thing."
Like, no, see, I can't think of any place than sitting outside your door. No, that's too far. I'll be sitting inside your door because I don't want to sit down the street.
I don't want to sit in the dirty. Yeah.
And he touches the most important thing in her life, and how you are with Spencer. Spence. As soon as he says that, I forgot the phrasing, but it makes me feel better to be me, or something. He always turns it around to him, right?
Yes.
Even in that moment where it's a heartfelt moment, he always turns around it to be him, but he still comes off as sweet, right? And then he's like, "Let's just go and eat some rolls," right? It's
Let's go for a walk. It's 4:00 in the morning. That sounds pretty weird to me. Well, there's a bakery. We can just act like we want fresh rolls,
right?
Yep.
So they leave the house, and he still has the mannerisms. And she's like, "No, this is not going to work, right? This is not going to work." But as soon as he kind of placates her in a way, and she sees past the annoyance and the asshole, and at this moment, this is where the movie was supposed to end originally. Okay? No warm rolls, no bakery, and no kiss.
Oh.
Oh, so he wasn't? Did he not even get his kind of monologue where he says about how like she's the greatest person in the world, and I don't see why people don't understand
the monologue
that.
is there, the talk is there, but they were supposed to hold hands and walk, same way as you see in the movie, where he was supposed to like walk on the bad sidewalk, but he actually does not walk on the bad sidewalk. So they're apart when you look at their feet, and that's the end. The whole kiss part before they hold hands was not supposed to be there. It was James L. Brooks yelling from the sidelines,
It's like, "Oh yeah, kiss her." Yeah.
So they did.
And that's why it does kind of it does look a little unnatural.
That's
in
why
retrospect. Okay, that makes a lot more sense.
Wasn't supposed to be there, and they kind of half-assed it, because it's not like.
Is that why it says I can do better than that and they kiss again?
Yes.
Okay.
Probably.
Okay.
That makes sense.
Okay. Because Jack Nicholson is like, okay, that was a fucked up take.
Yes.
We're doing it again, damn it.
I can do better than that. It's Jack Nicholson. He doesn't want to be seen giving out bad kisses like that.
And they go into the bakery because it opens up, and the movie ends. Hurrah!
Yeah.
What a fantastic movie. Which, again, I remember the lines here, but taking it out from my mouth is a little bit difficult.
I just have one question.
Yes.
Given the fact that he did get Carol to eventually go back to work, is he still banned from the restaurant?
I have no idea.
Questions are never answered.
You know what? Some movies I don't need these questions answered, to be absolutely fair, because I prefer my movies sometimes with sort of a taste in your mouth that you want to see more. But if you really think about it, you don't really have to.
Tinge of
The
ambiguity.
story
Yeah,
is
I know. No, I just you know me. I'm just being facetious.
And the headcanon for me on this is they go on and live happily ever after, when in reality, I know what really happens is he probably has some kind of breakdown, stops taking the pills, and it ends in a spectacular mess.
Yeah. Yeah, because that's how real life works. In real life, it's
Right.
a terrible shit show.
I like the part where they go and live happily ever after better.
Yeah.
in my-
Instead of like, and after 2 weeks, they realize, oh no, maybe this is a bad idea. And then after 2 months, Simon moves out. He loses the dog, loses his shit a little bit, and then he says something really bad about the kid, and then it's over.
Right.
I don't know what you guys are talking about. She obviously ends up with Frank, and
Yeah. Frank just comes in at the end, just steals the whole goddamn show.
yes, exactly. Fantastic movie. To me, it's in my top 20 of all time. Yes, I do have a list, and yes, it's not what you think, but it's definitely there. Why? To me, and I know I'm alone, out there in the fields. To me, this is my favorite Jack Nicholson performance ever. That's including Terms of Endearment, The Shining, Chinatown, Easy Rider,
One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
Joker from Batman, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. Take your pick. This is my favorite. Well, it's better than the bucket list, too.
Well, yes.
To me, it's sort of the quintessential Jack. However, after again going into research and trying to make the show happen, it's like, oh, he hated this role, like hated it. He hated the character. He hated the role. He hated having to do these things. Kept saying sorry after takes, all that stuff. Not really what I would have in my mind as Jack Nicholson, because on screen he is Jack.
Yep.
He is Jack. I think in my review I said he's not quite Ryan Reynolds in a Ryan
Reynolds movie, but yeah, it's very much.
but
Yeah.
sometimes he's very Jack Nicholson in a Jack Nicholson movie.
Well, it's because he's better.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. That's
In terms of on the whole, it's a fantastic movie. One that I kind of watch every year, maybe year and a half. Sometimes I watch it and like a week later I watched it again. It happened to me. I really enjoy it. If it comes on, I would most likely just watch it, even if it's like from the middle. And yeah, I have a lot of lines that I remember from the movie, but my Swiss cheese brain cannot hold all the information. But as soon as I see it, I can finish the sentence as it happens, right? One of those things. I'm happy we covered it. I'm happy I got to see it again.
It's a good movie.
That's about it.
It is definitely one of my favorite movies.
Awesome. Feelings, Amorata? Just quick summarization and we'll head off because it's getting a bit late.
Oh, I love this movie because I think it is an excellent example of how three people can actually find something from each other. It's not always sexual. It's not always anything. It's just about the human connection and how we can draw each other and help each other. And even as in an advanced age, you can improve and get better and find more humanity. The psychology of it, the whole thing I just think it's a fantastic movie.
Feelings?
Actually, I wanted to take a second to thank you for adding it on to this list because I wouldn't have ever thought of really adding it because we were trying to think of where we could have possibly added it before, and it's like really didn't make sense here or there. No, I actually had a very good time revisiting this film, and it's creeping up there on my personal list as well. I think it's one of those films that you really don't take time to really consider until you view it again.
Yeah,
And
because
again.
there's so many movies out there. The one thing I have to add, because I remembered it, I wrote it down. I'm not sure. This is the first movie, and it's very few movies do it the same way, to humanize people who have like real mental disorders,
Correct.
Mhm.
Yeah.
who live with the disorder. Again, being an asshole and having the condition are two separate things. They do have overlappings with each other, but he's not portrayed as dumb or malicious. Melvin
Because
Hall is not malicious because he's got OCD. He's malicious. He's an asshole, and the OCD is another aspect.
of it. So basically, like, he is not an asshole because of the OCD. He just happens to be an asshole who has OCD.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's same. And by the way, same goes for Simon. He's an artist who happens to be gay.
Yep.
It's not his. It's not his trait is an artist. He's got a process. He's got a way of doing things, and that when that gets disrupted, that turns his life upside down and through a loop, and he can't handle it until he meets Carol and has that. I call it a redemption arc, but he finds himself back.
More of a
Nothing to
rediscovery.
do with him being gay.
Yeah. Well, and that's the other thing. It has nothing to do with sex for any of them.
Yep, exactly. Exactly. All right, ladies and gentlemen, next week, we are covering the movie Three Amigos. However, after we're done, we're going to redirect you to Pop Culture Network, I think that's what it's called, to Gary, and they're covering Three Amigos over there.
So you can go watch them review it and then watch us review it next week.
But before
It's
we
okay.
go,
Three Amigos is great.
please go, and the links are in the description down below. Go to Horror Amorata's channel called The Abysmal Critic and subscribe to that channel. Everything pop culture, gaming,
Mostly gaming.
gaming stuff. And you did the full on the game. What was that?
Oh, I reviewed the Game Fest last night. I did a stream, and then there's a video where I just basically go through and say something about every game that appeared last night.
Yeah. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, go subscribe to Horror Amorata's channel. Give her a view. Give her a thing. You're close to monetization, right?
I'm working on the watch hours right now.
Yeah. All right.
All right.
Of course, description down below. Thank you for Jillian for the 5 gifted subs, and go take your time this week. Go and watch Three Amigos. It's probably on Tubi, but
I think it's on Tubi. I think you can find it several other places if you're.
I think you can find it on YouTube.
I think you can rent it on Amazon, and I was about to say you can actually watch it on YouTube. I think Premium has it, like for
I
free.
think so.
Yeah.
Also, as a side note, happy birthday, buddy.
Thank you.
Happy birthday.
Thank you. A mere 45.
Aw.
I look 45. I don't feel 45 actually. So it's good, I guess.
That's good.
Until next week, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, hope is a good thing, maybe even the best of things. No good thing ever dies. We'll see you next week. You're still here? It's over. Go home.